Why do bad habits feel so hard to break? This is a question that touches every one of us at some point in life. We tell ourselves that tomorrow we will stop biting our nails, or tomorrow we will stop wasting time scrolling endlessly, or tomorrow we will finally change the way we eat. But when tomorrow arrives, the same old pattern repeats itself. It feels as if the habit is stronger than us, as if it has taken control of our will. The truth is, habits are not just actions, they are deeply wired connections in our brain. Every time we repeat a behavior, we carve a path in the mind, like footsteps pressing into the soil. Over time, that path becomes so clear, so easy to walk, that our brain automatically chooses it without thinking. This is why, even when we want to change, we find ourselves falling back into the same actions. It isn't always about weakness. Often, it is about design. Our brains are designed to save energy by repeating what is familiar. A bad habit gives us comfort, even if only for a moment. A cigarette calms stress, junk food provides pleasure, procrastination protects us from discomfort. In that instant, the brain rewards us, and so the habit grows stronger. What we forget is that the relief is temporary, but the cost is lasting. Understanding this is the first step to freedom. Once we see that habits are not chains tied to our character, but patterns written into our behavior, we realize something powerful. If habits can be learned, they can also be unlearned. And that moment of realization changes everything, because the fight against a bad habit is no longer a battle against yourself, but a journey to retrain your mind. Think about the small triggers in your day. Have you ever noticed how a habit is often tied to a moment, a place, or a feeling? For example, you may not even want a sweet snack, but the moment you sit on the couch and turn on the TV, your hand almost automatically reaches for one. Or maybe you don't actually crave social media, but the instant you feel bored or anxious, you unlock your phone without even realizing it. This is how habits are formed. They are not just actions. They are responses to cues in your environment or emotions in your heart. A bad habit grows strong when it is attached to a trigger. The trigger can be stress, loneliness, celebration, or even routine. If every time you feel stressed you smoke, your brain builds the link. Stress equals cigarette. If every night after dinner you scroll for an hour, your mind learns the pattern. Dinner equals phone. Soon, you don't even think about it. It just happens. The key to breaking free is to first notice these triggers. Awareness is the beginning of change. You cannot fight what you do not see. When you stop and ask yourself, what moment pushes me into this habit, you begin to loosen its grip. You may discover that it is not really the cigarette you want, but peace. It is not really the snack, but comfort. It is not the endless scrolling, but escape. Once you uncover the hidden desire behind the habit, you can begin replacing it with something healthier, something that satisfies the true need without harming your future. Think for a moment. Why do bad habits feel so hard to let go of? It is because habits are not just actions. They are deeply rooted patterns in the brain. The more you repeat them, the stronger the pathway becomes, like a trail in the forest that gets clearer every time someone walks through it. Your brain loves familiarity. Even if the habit is harmful, it feels safe because it is known, predictable, and easy. That is why, when you try to stop, you often feel resistance, frustration, or even discomfort. It's your brain pulling you back to what it knows best. But here's the truth. Every habit is learned, and anything learned can also be unlearned. It is like writing on a page. You may have filled it with messy scribbles, but you can always turn to a new page and start writing something better. The process of breaking a habit is not about fighting your brain. It is about retraining it. Just as you practiced the bad habit unconsciously, now you can practice a new, healthier one with awareness. Science tells us that when you repeat a new action consistently, your brain begins to form fresh connections, slowly weakening the old ones. That means every small step you take toward change is not wasted. It is building a new trail in your mind. Over time, this new trail becomes clearer, smoother, and more natural. That is why patience is so important. You may not see change immediately, but beneath the surface, your brain is being rewired. Every bad habit is connected to a trigger. A trigger is something that sparks the behavior, sometimes obvious, sometimes hidden. It could be stress that makes you reach for junk food, boredom that pushes you to scroll endlessly on your phone, or loneliness that drives you toward unhealthy choices. If you only fight the habit itself without identifying what sets it off, you'll always find yourself falling back into the same cycle. Think about it like this. If a plant keeps growing in your garden and you only cut off the leaves, it will always grow back. But if you dig deep and remove the root, the plant will stop spreading. In the same way, you must dig beneath your actions and ask, what is really feeding this habit? Once you uncover the trigger, you gain power over the habit. For example, if stress is your trigger, you can replace the habit of overeating or smoking with deep breathing, exercise, or even journaling. If boredom is your trigger, you can channel that energy into learning, creating, or meaningful conversations. The key is not just to stop the bad habit, but to consciously replace it with a healthier one that satisfies the same need in a better way. This is why self-awareness is the beginning of transformation. The moment you start noticing when, where, and why you fall into the same patterns, you are no longer trapped. You are awake, and being awake gives you the freedom to choose differently. No bad habit can be broken by wishful thinking alone. It requires patience and consistency. Many people expect instant change, and when they fail after a few days, they give up, believing it's impossible. But habits are built over time, and they must be unbuilt the same way, step by step, day by day. Think about how a river carves through rock. It doesn't happen in a week. It takes years of flowing in the same direction, slowly shaping the stone. In the same way, your repeated actions carve patterns in your mind and body. To change those patterns, you must allow time for new ones to take shape. Patience means accepting that setbacks will come. You might slip once, or even many times, but that doesn't mean you have failed. Consistency means showing up again, recommitting every day, even when it feels small or slow. A single small action, repeated faithfully, has the power to rewrite your habits. So instead of asking, how fast can I change? Ask, how steady can I be? Because it is not speed that wins the battle against bad habits, it is perseverance. Each day you remain consistent, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one, until one day the bad habit no longer holds the same power over you. Willpower alone is not enough to overcome bad habits. The environment around you plays a powerful role. You can have the strongest intention, but if you keep surrounding yourself with the same triggers, the habit will return. Imagine trying to eat healthy while keeping your kitchen filled with junk food. Every time you walk by, temptation whispers louder than your decision. Changing your environment means setting yourself up for success. If you want to stop procrastinating, remove distractions from your workspace. If you want to quit smoking, avoid the places and moments that awaken the craving. If you want to read more, place a book beside your bed or in your bag so it's always within reach. Your surroundings can either feed the old pattern or nurture the new one. That's why successful people are deliberate about what they allow around them. They don't rely only on inner strength. They design their environment to guide them toward better choices. So ask yourself, what in your daily environment is feeding your bad habit? And what can you add or remove to support the change you truly desire? When you take control of your surroundings, you remove half the battle, making the road to transformation smoother and stronger. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools in overcoming a bad habit because it connects your private struggle to a shared responsibility. When you keep a habit hidden, it grows stronger in the dark. But when you bring it into the light by sharing your goals with someone you trust, the habit begins to lose its power. Accountability is not about shame, it is about support. Having a friend, a mentor, or even a small group that knows what you are trying to change gives you encouragement when you feel weak and celebration when you succeed. Sometimes, just the thought of someone asking you, "How are you doing with your goal?" can be enough to stop you from falling back into old patterns. History shows us that no great change is ever done alone. Leaders, thinkers, and reformers always surrounded themselves with people who pushed them higher. In the same way, when you allow others to walk with you in your journey, you build a shield of strength around yourself. Accountability also creates consistency. It helps you stay on track, not just in moments of inspiration, but in ordinary days when motivation feels low. Knowing that someone is standing with you makes you more determined, more disciplined, and more resilient. With accountability, your journey to break a bad habit stops being a lonely battle and becomes a shared victory. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools for breaking bad habits because change becomes easier when you're not walking alone. When you keep your struggles and goals only in your own mind, it's easy to bend the rules, excuse the slip-ups, and delay progress. But the moment you share your commitment with someone you trust, you add a layer of responsibility that strengthens your resolve. Think of athletes. They train harder when a coach is watching, not because they suddenly gain new strength, but because they know someone is expecting the best from them. In the same way, having an accountability partner, whether a friend, mentor, or support group, creates a system where your progress is noticed, your failures are not hidden, and your victories are celebrated. Accountability doesn't mean judgment or shame. It means encouragement, support, and someone who helps you stay aligned with your higher goals. Even writing down your progress in a journal can serve as a form of accountability because it forces you to confront the truth of your actions. When you allow someone or something to hold you accountable, you break the cycle of secrecy that bad habits thrive on. And in that openness, real transformation becomes possible. Renewal is the final step in breaking bad habits, because true change is not just about stopping something harmful, but about starting something better. When you remove a bad habit, you create an empty space in your life, and if that space is not filled with something positive, the old pattern will often return. Renewal means choosing to rebuild your life with healthier practices, uplifting routines, and meaningful goals. Think of it like renovating a house. You don't just tear down the broken walls and leave the space hollow. You design, paint, and build something stronger, brighter, and more beautiful. In the same way, when you stop a habit that weakens you, you must intentionally bring in activities that strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Maybe it's exercise, reading, prayer, service to others, or creative work, whatever adds value to your life. Renewal also reminds you that life is a continuous journey. Falling back doesn't mean failure. It means you rise again with more wisdom. Every small victory is part of the renewal process, and over time, these victories shape a new identity. You are no longer defined by the habits you once struggled with, but by the strength and resilience you developed while overcoming them. This is the beauty of renewal. It transforms the battle with bad habits into a path of growth, purpose, and lasting change.